Now, guys, we've been talking a fair bit about reskinning, and by now, I hope that you understand that it is a great way to reduce costs and have your apps ready quickly. But how exactly do you do it? What is the best way to reskin apps? I wanted to do this, small section explaining the process I follow to reskin apps before we get started on monetizing, app store optimization, and marketing. So let's get started. How to do it? Well, in order to reskin an app, you need the source code for the app that will be reskinned, and let's just call that the parent app. And you also need new graphics, a new icon, and new audio. And as long as you have these things, you will be able to give them to your programmer, and he or she should know what reskinning is. If he or she doesn't know, then just by explaining what the concept is, the programmer will be able to do it. It's a very simple process. And if you're a programmer, you can either do it yourself, which unless it takes less than 2 hours, I do not recommend, or you can outsource. But that's all you need. The tricky part here, which is really not that tricky, but it is to get your designer to understand what reskinning is and also what your mindset behind reskinning is. So, why are you doing it? You will have to work closely with the designer at first and maybe even bring in the programmer as well. You could use Trello until the designer gets used to reskinning and understands which graphics to change in which way in order to facilitate the programming process. It is best, or at least at first, that you have the programmer and designer communicate with each other. It will help avoid mistakes and delays. Now, the best ways to get ideas for reskinning, or at least the ones that I follow, are to write down reskinning ideas in the pre-development form I showed you guys earlier in the course for every single app that I make. You really have no idea how much that opens your mind and helps you think of new ways to skin your app. Even if it's a bit annoying, it can be a gold mine. If you put effort into it, you will always have ideas ready to go when you finish an app. I also, when I have a theme or an app idea in mind, I like to think of 5 to 10 different possible ways that I could make that app. Most of them end up, not being very useful at all. But 1 or 2 in 10 will light a spark of thought in your mind and you may come up with something new. Another strategy is to research in the app stores what people are doing. Find popular apps and see how they are being reskinned by other developers. Try to put yourself in their shoes and think of the process they followed and their train of thought. Also, before you buy any source code or get your developer working on a new app, you should think of how many ways you could actually reskin it and how. The more ways you can think of, or the more versatile the app is, the more profitable it will be for you. So be sure to think about that before you spend money or resources on an app. And well, that's pretty much it, guys. There's really no real science behind it. Like I said, this was a very short section. I just wanted to make sure that there were no doubts about reskinning, and if any of you has any questions or there is something that is not clear, please feel free to write in the comments, message me, or email me to my personal email. You guys, must be tired of me saying this, but I just want to make sure you guys know I'm here to help with what I can.